So welcome to my Sunday night talk. Yes, I've got some links underneath the video. So if you're interested in private sessions or my book, which is on paperback and Kindle, or you want to donate towards these talks, which is always really welcome, because I have to pay for the internet and stuff. What else? Oh yeah, I'm probably going to do a webinar at the end of June, near the end of June. It's going to be not recorded, and I'll probably have about 6 people where we all talk live to each other, like a mini meeting online. And yeah, it'll be on a first come first serve basis, and there'll be a small charge because it'll be most of the afternoon. And so if you're interested in that, keep an eye on my website or just email me. Yeah, and I will figure out a date for that if I can actually remember to think. It's terrible. It's terrible. Oh dear. Okay. So welcome, and we're here again. Coming to a place to hear a message like this, which gives the seeker absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. This is not a message that does anything in a process or in time or in a matter of getting something or understanding it or just getting anything for that sense of wanting to get something, wanting to be free, wanting to be liberated, wanting to understand what's being said. That energy of seeking wants to know what's being said. It thinks that the speaker knows something that it doesn't. And that's not true. It's actually the opposite. It's an ungetting, an unknowing. It's the opposite way round. Hi, Joe. So why is it being spoken of? Because it's the most amazing, obvious, beautiful thing. And it's the one thing that it's the whole of everything. It's aliveness, it's life. It's life. The one thing that this seeker, this energy is wanting to know, and it completely overlooks it by just the mere seeking of it. But it's the most beautiful, amazing, unknown, this what is, which is life. It's everything. It's neither, you could call it life, but it's neither life nor death. It's more than that. It's everything. It's mysterious. It's unknown where it comes from. It's unknown. It doesn't come in time. It just appears as everything. So it's impossible to get closer to it, because getting closer to it is just a mental idea about getting something. I'm closer to it. When the getting closer to it is it. It's impossible to get closer to what is. And in that sense, in that sense, nobody becomes liberated. It's impossible, because everything already is liberated, if you want to say that, or nothing is liberated. No body is liberated. All these gurus proclaiming they're liberated. It just completely misses the beauty of life. It completely misses it. That everything already is liberated. Everything that appears is already free. Even if it appears as not free, even if it appears as bad feeling, that is life appearing as that. So this looking for freedom, this looking for liberation, will never be found, because it is life appearing as looking for it. And the actual looking for it, which is a very tight tunnel in which reality is seen through, that can never see outside of that tunnel. What seems to happen is that's just the end of that. That's the end of that seeker. It just falls away. And it was like its appearance in the life of anybody is no more than the appearance of anything that happens in the life. Hi, Synchronizador. Hi, Gary. Synchronizador says, lol. Did I say something funny? Or ironic? Probably ironic. Hi, Raphael. Oh, hola, guapo. So, we come to these talks thinking that we might hear it in the next sentence. The next sentence, I'll hear it. Something, and she's going to say, I'm going to hear it. Something, I'll go to this person. Something I'm going to hear. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. It's always living. It's always like this reality, this fake reality of the next moment. And it never arrives. That in the moment never arrives. But the function of the seeker is in the next moment. It's always chasing the tail of the next moment in its fantasy realm of time. I'll become free in the next moment. I'll feel better in the next moment. I'll get it. I'll get what she's saying. I don't get what I'm saying. Because there's nothing to get, you see. That's the thing. It's the most obvious thing. You don't have to get it, because it already is everything. It already is sitting on a chair, looking at a computer, text coming up, water, plants, birds. It's the most obvious thing. It doesn't need to be got. But the seeker can't help to think that it must be something else. It must be something else apart from what is. And it is only obvious when that energy of seeking is not there. And more I speak to others where there is profound times of that seeker's not there, and it's just like, oh yeah, it's just so clear, it's so obvious. And then what happens? That energy of the seeker comes in again, and then they feel like they've lost it. When nothing's been lost. The computer just didn't disappear, the air, the space didn't disappear. It's just that this energy came back proclaiming that must have been something that it got. It claims that it wants to understand what happened. Hi, Sergey. So it comes in going, what was that? That was good. That was good. but I've lost it now. No, the seeker never lost it, because what happened? The seeker wasn't there. Okay, got questions coming up now. I'll shut up. Gary, hi Gary. Whenever I think I know something, it never satisfies for long. The mind seems restless by nature. Yeah, and it's not real. It is the mind, but it's the energy of the sense of separation, which can only seek. So it thinks it knows something, and there's a kind of like, oh yeah, there's an understanding of something, but the thing I'm talking about, which is just this, can't be understood. It can't be known. So it's the seeker, I think, that gets restless, because the mind's just the mind, you know, thoughts. I don't know what the mind is really, but thoughts, you know, humans, we have thoughts. But it's that sense of seeking that it feels like it might know something, and it grabs hold of that. It grabs hold of it. Yeah, and it can't, you see, nothing can be held on to. There's nothing that I'm talking about which can be held on to as any kind of knowledge or any kind of state. There's certainly no state, because a state is always for the sense of me. There doesn't need to be a state. There can be feelings arising, or, you know, pleasure or whatever. But that's not a state. Those things just come and go, like everything. This appearance constantly changes and yet is not going anywhere. Hi, Daniel. Does the seeker seek because it wants the sense of self to drop? Isn't that the whole reason why they seek? Yes, yes. But that mechanism of seeking can't affect its own annihilation, because it can't do anything but seek. But what happens is this message is heard, and I'm not talking to the seeker here. It's not heard by the seeker. It's just heard. There doesn't need to be anybody to kind of register what's being said here. It's just like a kind of an obvious thing. It's like, yeah, yes, of course. And then that sense of separation may drop. The sense of separation can never do anything but seek, because it's always seeking to feel whole again. That's what it does. Yeah. The sense of self and the seeker are the same thing. Like it's one energy. The same thing. Hi Joe. Don't jump to conclusions. Hi Sana. Hi Alexandro. Can an illness prevent liberation to be apparent? No, because it's got nothing to do with the condition of the human. Because it's not the human that becomes liberated. What happens is there's no longer a looking for liberation, and it is very clear that what is already free. It is free. It's freedom, but not for someone. So illness, no, not at all. Not at all. No condition. If the sense of separation is going to fall away, it's going to fall away. And you know, you can be without 2 arms and 2 legs and barely be breathing, and there's possibility that it might fall away. There's always that possibility. And I see it a lot. Yeah. And I love to hear it. I love to hear that. You know, people message me and just say, wow, yeah, it's just what is. And it can't be described or explained or known. But then the sense of separation comes in and gets very confused about that. Synchronize it all. Can one say that everything is me? I would just say that there is only what is. Because the sense of me is a very contracted sense of separation. That's like saying everything is a sense of me. That's still coming from a perspective of being separate from everything. And it won't last because it's a kind of what that is. I mean, I might be interpreting you wrong here, but what's coming here to say is that that would be it would be a kind of a state, and that state would not last. So I would not say everything is me. I would only say that there is everything. It feels true. It feels more accurate to say that. I understand where you're coming from. But I would say that there is no me who is the center of life. That's the thing, you see. The me thinks it's the center of everything. It's the center of the universe in a way. It's all of it. Everything is important to it. So that all the life is governed by that kind of central kind of regulator of looking out from one point. And it thinks that it will know everything. It will know that I am everything. I used to think that here, you know, I used to think, if only I could expand out into everything and know myself as everything. And that was found not to be true at all. There is no expanding out and finding myself as everything. There is only just everything, and that can't be described what that's like, because it's not like anything. It's nothing. It's nothing. But everything. It's great, huh? Hi, Mansour. How one can be liberated from the body-mind system? Yeah, well, that's the thing I'm speaking about. You know, one can't be liberated from it. The body-mind system is the body-mind system, and it's just as free as a car going past, or a blade of grass, or a bird, or a thought, or a feeling, or another person. The body-mind system is utterly free to be what it is. What's apparently not liberated, which I'll say this in a minute, what's appearing as not liberated is this thing, is this sense of separate self that feels like it wants to be liberated. But it can't be liberated from anything, because the end of it is seeing that everything is liberated, for want of a better word. Though I don't like the word liberation, because it feels like it's for somebody. Everything just is free. But then, ironically, that sense of the not liberated one is actually still appearing as part of freedom, but it can't be seen from that perspective. Hi, Wa. Sounds like a movie. Daniel, you can't change what's happening, let alone try. No, because it's not the sense of self that is doing it. Excuse me. It's not the self, it's not me, that sense of me, that is doing it. Wow. Is that experienced? Sorry, is what experienced? I don't know which thing you're referring to. Yeah, let's go back to Daniel. Because if there's a sense of trying to change things, there's just a sense of trying to change things. And if it seems to change things, then that is it as well. It's just everything. It's always just what is. There's never anything else. There's no liberation. There's no enlightenment. There's just utter freedom. It's such a trap, this enlightenment thing. But that's okay too. There's no judgment here of anything. Just waiting for Wa. Is that is experienced. Hmm. Wow, doesn't that feel like a movie then? Okay, brain likes some control. Kinda, yeah. Yeah, kinda. Yeah. Absolutely unfathomable. Just life just moves on its own. Yeah, the brain likes some control, yeah, but there's nothing that can control this. It's just too wild. It's just too free. Synchronized door. Is consciousness, in inverted brackets, presence plus knowing, is just what happens to the me, and just what happens, and the me takes it to be what is? Yes. Yes. Because there's nothing, because presence and knowing is seen to be something, as if it's something good, something that's, oh yeah, presence, knowing, this is it, it's got to be the knowing and the presence. Well, no, that's just a something that happens. It's just what happens, yeah, the me takes it to, that's it, to be what is. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Narrowing the whole of everything, the absolute vastness of life down to knowing is like it's just nothing. It's not important. Knowing is not important. It's not it because there is no it. You know, the seeker looks for it. What is it? What is this? I've got to know this. I've got to know what this is. There must be some sort of expansive state when I know this. There must be something that happens to me when I know this. And then there's also that thing that the sense of self goes, okay, then there's just me, and that's a really pure state, no thoughts, just pure presence. It's just pure presence as a feeling, as a state for me. It isn't what's been spoken about here. That's just an appearance, just a state. States come and go. Experiences come and go. This is about utterly ungraspable freefall, when nothing can be got hold of. Well, I read once that when humans feel like they don't have any control at all, depression is likely to occur. Yeah, when there's no, yeah, it's, but isn't that more of a kind of, I mean, I've heard of people getting depressed through non-duality. I think there might be already kind of depression as a kind of there anyway. And this message is not for depression. Yeah, I mean, I always advocate therapy for that type. Situations where torture happens, the ones that only screamed after counting a few seconds, for example. Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't really know about that. I don't know about psychology, really. Yeah, I can't really say about yeah, because it includes everything. It includes everything. Even the me. The me is freedom appearing as me. Isn't that great? Not great for the me though. Mansour, non-duality means no me happening. Well, yes and no, because me's appear. You know, that's part of the human. Me's appear. But when that is not there, it's really clear that there was never any separation, that there is no separation in anything. Everything is the one appearance. Oof, here. Constantly. Synchronizador. What is unknown. It can't be known. Yeah. And when that sense of self is not there, there is an unknowing. It's like an unknowing, an ungetting. No, it can't be. Well, yeah, it can't be known because it's too free. Because knowing is a thing, and knowing would relate to another thing. This, what is, life appearing, there is no thing to speak of in its entirety. There is no part that is separate which can be named. Andresso, can we say that the me is a function to protect the body? Possibly because there's a self-awareness in the human, isn't there, that protects us from. You don't need a me to protect the body. Sorry, I've got to scroll down. But maybe I mean I've heard it described as a misunderstanding that happens in the body, and I would agree with that. Because the human is aware. There's like, you know, we don't bump into tables, and we have our inner life, feelings and thoughts. And then that maybe is misconstrued as being, I am separate because I have these thoughts that happen in my body and feelings that happen in my body. So therefore, these are my thoughts and I'm separate and I live in this body. Because it can happen at a very early age, and the sense of self builds up and up and up, doesn't it, as we get older? So that could be true, yeah. Daniel. So then there can still be dysfunction in the body, addictions, neurotic patterns, while even in a full state of presence. Well, there wouldn't be a full state of presence because there's nothing here that is present or in a state, but without the sense of separation, without the sense of the seeker, there's a possibility that addictions and I would say more conditionings can be there. a lot of neurotic patterns do seem to fall away, actually. But there might be still conditioning there, like this body-mind is very conditioned to be British. So, you know, there's strict rules about queuing. Even though there's temptation to break the rules, there's the rules about queuing, and there's, you know, afternoon tea, and, you know, and then a lot of other stuff. But it's not, you see, people think if I get rid of like certain conditionings, or I stop addictions, or I get rid of all this behavior, then I'll become free. But it's nobody having the addictions and the behaviors. They don't belong to anybody. They may be a side effect of this sense of separation, but they don't really, that's just what's happening. Because there's actually isn't, this sense of self we call I and me is not me. It's not who I am. It's not really this, it's not really a person. It's an energetic appearance that pretends to be somebody or thinks it's somebody. Sorry, this cushion is doing me in today. It's it's illusory. It's illusory. It's like having an invisible friend, you know, as a kid, and you really believe they're there. And then one day it goes and you realize it was never really there. It was just illusory. Sebastian. Hi, Sebastian. Hi, Lisa. I did a lot of introspection and analysis of my conditioning, etc. And now I feel ready for the absolute. The focus shifting from getting rid of pain of who I am, keeping the absolute. The focus shifted from getting rid of pain to who I am and keeping the absolute in focus. Permanent. But still work has to be done, apparently, to realize the self. Just trying to read because there's lots of interruptions here. I'm glad things are getting better for you, Sebastian. Yeah. I mean, you know that, you know, because, you know me, and you know that I don't talk about the realization of the self. Because here it's, this sense of self is not the thing that becomes realized. But, you know, you just have to do what's right for you. Because there's nothing right or wrong in this appearance. And that's the beauty of it. There is nothing excluded. And if there is a state of the self realizing itself or whatever, if that appearance seems to be happening, then that's okay too. But that's not what's being talked about here. Hey Joe, thanks for your comments, but would you just be able to slow them down a bit, because it's really hard to read the questions. I mean, if you have a question, sure, but try not to, you know, I have to keep scrolling through to answer the questions. But I appreciate your comments, but maybe just one occasionally would be better. Synchronizador. The sense of presence and knowing is not a state, because it never comes and goes. So it is not an experience. But what is? It is what is, but feels permanent in contrast to the rest of experience. Can you expand? Sense of presence. I don't know about a sense of presence. Sense of presence. It's just not a reality here. It's not necessary. It never comes and goes. Maybe you're talking about just this constant appearance of life, but that is not a state. That is not a state, that just is. That's mouse mat, water, air. And that's not an experience, no. But anything which is experiencing it is an experience, an apparent experience. And I don't know anybody who's managed to hold that for long without thinking they'd lost it or something else. I think maybe you're talking about the fact that there's always a kind of sense of just this. It is what is, but feels permanent in contrast to the, yeah, well, what is, I would not say is present, because somebody would have to be present. Something would have to know. I don't know anything about knowing. There's just only what is, and it's utterly free fall. Of course, there's nothing wrong with feeling like there is presence or knowing. Maybe it's just a matter of misunderstanding of words. Gary, for me, presence is the state of being. Is this what you mean, synchronizador? Yes, yeah, I think that's what synchronizador means. Yeah, it's going to sound mad, but there is no sense of being here. There is only being, no sense of it. Just being. There is only being. There is no sense of being or experience of it or experience of presence. There is no presence here. There is only what is. You could call that presence, I guess. But for me, the word presence would mean to be present, something that is present. That's what presence means. Or a presence of something. But there is no something here. There is only everything. I guess the only thing here is there is a sense of amazement sometimes. That's not a permanent thing, though. Yeah, sense of amazement. But there's no sense of being here. Do you mean sense of being as in sense of being in the body? Or just the sense that everything is being? Because those are two completely different things, and yet the same. Yeah. Because there's a sense of I am, and then there is just being. without a sense of I am. Yeah, ironically, both are the same appearance. Yeah. Yeah, well, that sense of existence is not here. There's only existence. There's a character of Lisa that moves around in this life. There's no sense of it. There's no sense that she exists there. Not as a person in time. Synchronizador, I understand that what is called present is the constant flux of life apparently happening. Yes. Yes. It's called the present or this, or just what is, yeah. Yeah, it's a constant flux of life apparently happening. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, totally that. Sebastian, could you repeat the essence of your message again? I'll try to be totally open for it. Well, I did an intro. Okay, I can never repeat it. The essence is everything that is what you're looking for. What is looking for liberation is actually the thing that's in the way of everything of what is being looked for. But that sense of seeking can't help but do that. Life appears as seeking energy, and it can't do anything but seek it. But ironically, in this life, that seeker is also life. Everything that appears, everything that happens is totally life. It is absolute in its wholeness. And it's totally ordinary and totally extraordinary. That's a summary, Sebastian. Hi, Lee. Hi, there is still a Lisa, body, thoughts, etc. What isn't there anymore? Okay, what isn't there anymore is an energy that thinks that she is separate and has to find wholeness, and that life is happening to her and they are her thoughts, her body, and that there is a future where she can find some kind of freedom and fulfillment and feel better about herself. A total energy of I am in this body and I am looking out of my eyes and I want to be free. That's not there anymore. Daniel, trying to figure it out happens. Yeah. It's so stupendously beautiful, this appearance, in all its apparent manifestation, trying to figure out that all this is the freedom. I mean, what an amazing appearance. Appearing as bodies with this energy inside it, trying to figure it out, trying to get towards, in fact, what it already is, which is what is appearing. I find that utterly miraculous. And I know it's a real shitter for the seeker to be in that. I know that. Lisa, this body mind Lisa, the me that was in Lisa was a big seeker, an ardent, seeking, often, yeah, just very, very spiritual, I guess. Sebastian, thank you very much. Feels very true what you say. Your ego energy seems to remain though. Yeah, it does. I guess you can't figure out a cause why your I energy finished and not mine. No, it's there's no reason for it. It's not really when that falls away, Sebastian, you'll see that it was never my energy anyway. When that ego, when that sense of self is not there, you will see that it was never you, it was never yours. The story of the seeker here is just as much relevant than watching the final episode of Lost yesterday. In fact, I can remember that better than the story of the seeker of Lisa. It's got so little relevance. Because then it's still the seeker trying to figure out, why can't it happen to me? It doesn't happen to me. It's like just switching off a movie, or the movie's just switched off. You know, I watched Lost, the last episode of Lost yesterday. Oh man, I've enjoyed that season. And it's just finished. It's finished. It's over. The apparent story of Lisa being someone is over. She never was somebody. It never was a me. It was just an appearance. It's just amazing. It's beautiful, really. No, I can't figure it out at all. Because there's nothing to figure out. There's no reason for any of the appearances in this life. There's no real reason for them. Ah, yeah, you feel where I'm pointing. Yeah, it's a sense, isn't it? You can't ever know that, though. You can't know what that sense is. It just arises. It just appears as a kind of, oh yeah, I sense it. I know it, but I don't know it because it can't be known. Brilliant. Synchronizador. Can one say that what is constantly happening as life in free fall and the separate sense of self claims that constant presence for itself? Yes, it does. But it never lasts, you see, because you can't sit there in that, well, unless you go and sit in a cave somewhere, you know? Because life is too wild. It won't, nothing can stick. So there's a sense of life happening in free fall. There's a sense of that. Like Sebastian sensed what was being pointed to. So there is that sense there. And then that sense of me, that sense of the seeker, claims it for itself. But it never lasts. Unless it does. No rules. No rules in this appearance. I mean, you know, this whole life appears as incredible appearances. Stars, space, rockets, worms. Tonight there's going to be the town hall fireworks, so I will be finishing on time because I love fireworks. Fireworks! And there is this sense of me trundling along, apparently, trying to know this immense beauty of life. Yeah, feeling strongly transpersonal energies in your words, feeling liberated. Feels liberating. Yeah. And it won't be liberating for me. It'll just be like, oh yeah, that's right. I love it, you know, when I speak to people on Skype and in talks and stuff, and you're talking with them, you know, there's talking going on between us, and you see this light go on in the face. It's so beautiful. It's just like, oh yeah, it's such a beautiful moment. And then the me goes, what was that? What was that? That was good. What did I do to get that? What did I do? What did I do to have that moment of, oh yeah, I must have done something. So in comes the seeking again. Oh, thank you, Sebastian. Nice to see you again. Okay, I have 9 minutes before I'm going to run to my beautiful roof terrace. I have this really great roof terrace that has a 180-degree view of the mountains, huge mountains. It's very beautiful. The sun's setting now. It's going to be beautiful sunset, and then there's going to be this firework display over the whole of the town. So I am not going to miss that. So if you have any last questions? Questions the last few weeks have been like really good, really on point questions. Because I just love this subject. Just love it. You know, and seems that a lot of people in this sort of non-dual kind of message, for want of a better word, just love it, just love it. It's brilliant. It's kind of addictive as well, because here, you know, there was at one point, did nothing else but listen to non-duality. Nothing else. Even when I was at work, well, it would go YouTube, because it's something very beautiful about this. Such a freedom. Oh, thank you, Lee. So beautiful. Now it's that beauty that is sensed, isn't it? It's like, oh yeah, it's so expansive and free. And in that, there can be the looking for that expansiveness and that freedom. But so what? You know, that's expansiveness and free too. This is what it's about. The beauty of aliveness, beauty. So good. So, is there any last questions? Oh, thank you, Synchronizador. Yeah. Great questions, guys. Oh, love you too. Thank you. I love our interactions. They're just, it's a real aliveness in them. Yeah, so if anybody, I'm gonna get this webinar thing together. I'm gonna stop staring at the mountains for hours on end. actually work out how to do a webinar, and then I will post it on my website. Gary, okay, this is my last one. Do you ever miss the intensity of emotion that is felt as a separate self, not getting caught up in the story so much? No. There is intensity of emotion, which is beautiful. You know, can't think of anything right now. Like watching, like I love it when a film makes me cry, you know, really cry. Or like someone's kind of gets me annoyed. There's this, but nothing sticks. No, big no. Yeah, the story, you see, they're getting caught up in the story. That doesn't really happen. That's a real, like, oh. Yeah, that's because the getting caught up in the story is usually because the sense of self thinks, this is really happening to me. This is really happening to me. And round and round and round and round the story goes. But without that sense of self, that nothing really sticks. It's kind of like water off a duck's back, really. You know, things happen, life happens to this character, you know. There is all the things that happen to humans happens here. They're not so sticky though, and they are just a part of the whole. Yeah. Even getting really like pissed off doesn't happen very often, really. That can happen. You know, when someone's in your face, you know, it's like, oh, just get out of my face. It's kind of juicy energy, really. But sticky stories. Yes, it just becomes tiresome. Yeah, it really does, doesn't it? Thank you. Thank you, Gary. Thank you. Yeah, thanks, everybody. Awesome bunch. Okay, I'm going to go. I'll be here same time next week. I've got guests over, and I'm going to send them off for an hour. So anyway, I love you guys, and see you soon. Take care. Bye.